The biggest differentiator now is how well can you handle the hardest logical reasoning questions on the exam. So maybe you're retaking in January or February or even April, maybe even June. And if you are prepping for a retake, you're going to need a different strategy than what you used before. The new LSAT requires mastery of the hardest questions. That is the consequence of the scale getting tightened. You can't just get better at the intermediate difficulty questions because everybody gets those. The biggest differentiator now is how well can you handle the hardest logical reasoning questions on the exam. Students might crush the mid-range questions, the ones say numbered 15 in a section, but the questions numbered 20, 22, 24, the top and difficulty ones, those are mattering more than ever, especially because logical reasoning is 2/3 of your score, and so any gains you make in your understanding of logical reasoning will be doubled across those two sections. And so if you're retaking in January or February in particular, your prep at this point should be focusing on identifying the 3 or 4 hardest logical reasoning question types for you, drilling the hardest variants of those question types, learning to spot trap patterns instantly, tightening your reasoning precision, and reviewing every single mistake with microscopic levels of detail. You don't need more practice tests, you just need better analysis of those tests that you are taking. Now, if your score did drop, it doesn't mean you suddenly got worse at the LSAT or that your law school dreams are over, but you've got to look ahead now. If you are retaking in January or February, focus again on the hardest logical reasoning questions, review more deeply, anticipate tighter scaling. This curve is less forgiving than it used to be, and you've got to trust that you are capable of adjusting. Your LSAT score is not a measure of your self-worth. It's just a snapshot of your reasoning under pressure on a particular day. And while the LSAT as a whole is incredibly important, no one particular test date will make or break you because you can always retake. You can retake it in January or February. February and January are both not too late for this cycle, and it's well worth applying a couple months later with a higher score than in November with a lower score. And so if your PT average was higher than what you got on your LSAT administration today, when scores come back, know that it is worth retaking. If you can put another 6 weeks or maybe 10 weeks at worst, you can still apply this cycle, and it's probably worth delaying your applications for that.